It was a cold night. The wind was blowing softly, and the streets were almost empty. A small gas station stood alone near the highway. Its yellow lights flickered again and again, like they were tired too. Armand stood there wearing an old jacket and filling fuel in his old faded car. He looked tired, but his eyes had warmth, kindness that did not leave no matter how hard life was. Armand was a single father. Work in the morning, work at night, and still the money was never enough. But he always tried. For his son, Rayan, who was sitting inside the car half asleep, hugging his small school bag. Just then, Armand noticed a girl sitting near the wall of the gas station. She looked young and pregnant. Her clothes were simple, and she was shivering from the cold. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying for a long time. She was holding her stomach softly, as if trying to protect her baby from the world. Armand looked at her for a moment. He turned back to his car, but something inside him did not let him ignore her. His chest felt heavy, because once his wife had been like that, cold, weak and scared, before she died giving birth to Rayan. The memory was like a shadow that never left him. Armand walked slowly toward her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. The girl did not look up at first. She was breathing fast, like she was scared of everything around her. Armand tried again, slowly sitting down near her so he would not frighten her. "My name is Armand. I work nearby. You are not safe sitting here like this. Do you need help?" The girl finally looked at him. Her eyes were full of fear, but also pain. My name is Aisha," she whispered. Her voice was weak. I don't have anywhere to go right now." Armand noticed her hands were shaking. Without thinking much, he stood up and went inside the gas station shop. He bought a cup of hot tea and returned. "Here," he said softly. Aisha looked at the tea like it was something precious. She held the cup with both hands, warming her fingers. A tiny tear fell from her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Armand sat down again. "It's okay. Sometimes everyone needs help," Aisha nodded, but she did not speak. She sipped the tea silently. Rayan, who had woken up, came out of the car. "Baba, who is she?" he asked in his innocent voice. Armand smiled softly. "She is a guest. Say hello." Rayan waved with a small smile. "Hello, Auntie." Aisha smiled back, but there was sadness behind it. "Hello. You are very sweet," she said. Rayan sat near Armand and leaned on his shoulder. Armand looked back at Aisha. "Do you have someone we can call? Family? Friends?" Aisha shook her head quickly, fear rushing back into her eyes. "No, please. Please do not call anyone. I don't want them to find me." "I cannot go back to them," she said. Her voice trembling, Armand froze for a moment. He could see the fear was real, deep. Something serious was happening with her. He spoke gently, slowly, as if speaking to a scared bird. "Okay, I won't call anyone. But you cannot stay out here. It's cold, and you are pregnant. You need rest." Aisha looked confused. "But I don't want to cause trouble. And I have no money." Armand smiled, tired but real. "Money is not everything. A little kindness is free." There was silence for a few seconds. The wind moved softly. The gas station lights flickered again. Aisha finally nodded, tears still in her eyes. "Okay, I will come," she said very quietly. Armand helped her stand. She walked slowly. Rayan opened the car door for her like a little gentleman. She smiled gently at him. They started driving toward Armand's small house. Inside the car, there was silence. Only the soft sound of the engine. Aisha looked outside the window. Her heart was heavy, but also a little warm. Armand did not ask any more questions, because sometimes silence is kinder than words. But just as they were about to reach home, Armand's phone vibrated. He stopped the car and checked it. It was a message from a co-worker. "Have you heard? A rich family from the city is searching for their missing pregnant daughter. They are giving a huge reward. Be careful. They say she ran away." Armand slowly looked at Aisha. Aisha saw the message on his face. Her breathing stopped. Her eyes filled with panic again. She whispered, her voice shaking, "Please, don't tell them I'm with you." The car stayed silent. The night felt heavier. Cut suspense begins. The night was silent as Armand parked the car outside his small old house. The house was simple, paint peeling on the walls, a weak streetlight shining above, and a small plant sitting near the door. But it felt safe. It felt human. Aisha sat quietly, holding her stomach as if holding her whole world together. Her eyes still showed fear. She was hiding something big, something painful. Arman gently helped her step out of the car. "Walk slowly," he said. Aisha nodded, taking careful steps. Ryan ran ahead and opened the door with his small hands.
"Welcome home, Auntie,"
he said in his sweet voice. Aisha smiled weakly. The word home felt heavy. It had been a long time since she felt anything close to a home. Inside, the house was small but warm. A small sofa, a table with 3 mismatching chairs, and some toy cars on the floor. On one wall, there was a picture, Arman holding a baby. That baby was Rayan. Aisha stared at the picture. "You raised him alone?" she asked softly. Arman nodded slowly while putting water to boil. "Yes, my wife. She passed away when Rayan was born." Aisha lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry." Arman smiled a sad smile. "Life is life. Sometimes we don't get what we want, but we still move forward." Rayan jumped onto the sofa. "Baba cooks the best noodles," he proudly said. Aisha laughed a little, a small, real laugh. It surprised even her. Arman cooked simple noodles and tea. The 3 of them sat together at the table. Aisha tried to eat, but tears came to her eyes. This feels like family," she whispered. Arman did not ask about her family. He could see the hurt in her eyes. And some pains do not need to be touched. After dinner, Rayan brought a small toy and gave it to Aisha. "You can hold this if you feel scared," he said. Aisha blinked back tears. "Thank you, Rayan." "You are very kind." Rayan smiled big. "My Baba says kind people are superheroes." Aisha looked at Arman. Arman looked away, embarrassed. The night grew quiet. Rayan fell asleep on the sofa. Arman carefully carried him to one small bedroom and placed him gently on the bed. Aisha stood in the doorway, watching. "You really love him," she murmured. Arman nodded. "He is all I have." Aisha placed a hand on her belly. Her voice broke. "I wish I could give this baby a safe life too." Arman looked at her. "You can, but only if you protect your heart. Not run forever." Aisha looked down. "Run, run." That's all she'd been doing. Arman pointed toward the second small room. "You can sleep there. It's not much, but it's warm." Inside, the room was simple. An old bed, a small wooden drawer, and a window that pointed to the quiet street. On the bed lay a soft blanket, a beautiful one, light blue with tiny stars stitched into it. Aisha touched it carefully. "This was my wife's," Arman said from the doorway. "She loved stars." Aisha held the blanket close. It felt like kindness, soft, real, safe. "Thank you," she whispered. Arman nodded and walked away, leaving the door slightly open, just like someone who cares, but does not force closeness. Morning. Sunlight entered the house through thin curtains. Birds chirped outside. Aisha woke slowly, feeling the blanket still around her. She stood and walked to the kitchen. Arman was already there, wearing his old work shirt. Rayan sat at the table, swinging his legs happily. Aisha moved quietly and started helping without being asked. She cut bread, made tea, and placed plates on the table. Arman watched her for a moment. There was something gentle about her, something real. They all ate together again. Simple breakfast, but it felt warm. Rayan looked at Aisha. "Auntie, will you stay here forever?" he asked innocently. Aisha froze. Arman quickly shook his head at Rayan. "Don't ask that." "Aisha has her own life." Aisha slowly looked up. Her eyes were wet. "I don't know where I belong anymore," she whispered. Arman wanted to say something, but the words didn't come. Later, Arman left for work. He stepped outside, locked the door, and walked down the small street. But across the road, a black luxury car was parked. Dark windows, silent engine watching. Inside the car, a man spoke into a phone. "We found her location. The girl is inside the house." The person on the other side asked coldly, "And the baby?" The man replied, "She looks close to giving birth." There was a pause, a cold silence. "Bring her back." No matter what, the call ended. Inside the house, Aisha poured milk for Rayan, completely unaware. The car engine started quietly. It began to move closer. The morning passed slowly. Sunlight moved from one side of the small room to the other, touching walls that had seen many quiet days. Aisha was sitting on the sofa holding a warm cup of tea. Rayan was on the floor with his toy cars, making little roads with his hands and laughing quietly to himself. For the first time in many days, Aisha felt calm. Maybe not fully safe, but calm. She touched her belly gently. "Everything will be okay," she whispered to her unborn baby. But even as she said it, fear sat inside her chest like a heavy stone. Arman returned home during his lunch break. He looked tired, but when he saw Aisha and Rayan sitting together, something in his face softened. "How are you feeling?" Arman asked. Aisha nodded. "Better. Thank you, really." Arman sat on the sofa. "You don't have to thank me every minute." "It's okay." Aisha hesitated, then spoke softly. "Not many people help without asking questions." Arman looked at her for a moment. "Not many people ask for help before they break." Aisha lowered her eyes. She understood. Small moments build trust. Rayan ran up to Aisha. "Auntie, look!" "Car race," he said, holding two small toy cars. Aisha laughed gently and sat on the floor with him. They played together, slow, quiet, happy play. Arman watched them. Something inside his chest felt warm and painful, because he remembered when his wife used to laugh like that with Rayan. He missed her every day. But seeing Aisha smile, it reminded him that life still had gentle places. When lunchtime ended, Arman stood to go back to work. "I'll be back by evening. Lock the door if someone knocks. Do not open for strangers, okay?" Aisha's face changed slightly. Her hands tightened. "Strangers." She repeated softly. Arman nodded. "Just be careful. The world is not always kind." He left. The sound of the door closing felt louder than usual. Aisha took a breath, placed her hand on her belly, and looked out the window. The black car watches across the street. The black luxury car was still there. But this time, the windows lowered slightly. A man inside with sharp eyes looked directly at the house. He whispered to another man, "She won't stay here long. The mother wants her back immediately." The other man nodded. "We just wait for the father to be gone completely." They waited like shadows. Inside the house, Aisha tried to ignore the feeling of being watched. She made Rayan a sandwich. He smiled with every bite. "Auntie, can you read me a story?" he asked. Holding a thin children's book, Aisha sat beside him on the sofa and began to read. Her voice was soft, gentle, motherly. Rayan listened with full attention, leaning his head against her arm. Halfway through the story, Aisha's voice broke. She closed the book slowly. Rayan looked up. "Auntie, why are you crying?" Aisha wiped her tears quickly. "Nothing. I'm just happy," but Rayan was a child. Children feel things adults try to hide. He touched her hand. "It's okay to cry. Baba says crying makes heart lighter." Aisha hugged him tightly. Her tears fell silently, like rain in the night. Afternoon, Arman returned home earlier than usual. He walked in and saw Aisha and Rayan asleep together on the sofa, Rayan's small hand resting on Aisha's belly. For a moment, everything looked peaceful, but peace has a short life when danger waits outside. Arman stepped back outside to pick up a small bag of groceries from the car. When he closed the car door, he noticed the black car across the street. His heart paused. The car, silent, watching. He knew. He walked slowly closer. But before he could get too near, the car engine roared, and the car drove away quickly. Arman stood frozen. He felt a cold warning inside his chest. Someone was looking for her, and they were close. Evening inside, Aisha was preparing tea when Arman returned. He sat down heavily. "Aisha, someone is searching for you. Not just anyone. Someone powerful. I saw their men outside." Aisha's hands began to shake. The cup almost slipped. "They found me," she whispered. Arman leaned forward. "You need to tell me the truth." "Who are you running from?" Aisha closed her eyes, tears building again. "My mother," she whispered. Arman's eyebrows raised slightly. "Your mother?" Aisha nodded slowly. "She is rich, very rich." She controls businesses, banks, companies. To her, everything is reputation, image, power. When I got pregnant, she ordered me to get rid of the baby. Armand's jaw tightened. Aisha continued, voice shaking. I refused. So she locked me inside the house. I escaped, and I have been running since then. Silence. Pain sat in the room like a living thing. Armand finally spoke. This child means something to you. Aisha nodded, crying softly. It is the only real love I have ever known. Rayan watched them both quietly, not fully understanding but feeling everything. Someone knocked on the door. 3 slow knocks, not soft, not loud but certain. Aisha froze. Her breathing stopped. Her hands shook violently. Armand stepped forward, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. Rayan held Aisha's other hand. Another knock. This time heavier, a deep voice from outside. We know she's inside. Armand's eyes widened. Aisha's heart raced. The knock echoed through the small house again. Aisha's heart felt like it stopped. Rayan squeezed her hand tightly. Armand's face changed. His calm eyes became sharp, serious. He stood up slowly. Aisha, he said quietly, go to the back room. Stay with Rayan. Aisha shook her head, scared. They will take me. They will take my baby. Armand looked at her, strong, steady, unshaking. They will not take anyone. Go. Something in his voice made Aisha listen. She grabbed Rayan's hand and stepped back into the small bedroom. Rayan looked up at her, trying to be brave, but his small hands were shaking. The knock came again, this time louder. Armand walked to the door and opened it halfway. 2 men stood outside, both wearing clean black suits. Their faces were serious, their eyes cold. One of them stepped forward. We are looking for Aisha, he said firmly. We know she is here. Armand didn't move. I don't know who you are, he replied calmly, but this is my home. You cannot just walk in and take people. The man narrowed his eyes. We are here on behalf of her mother, a powerful woman. You should not interfere. Armand's jaw tightened. So her mother sends guards instead of love. The man smirked slightly. This is not your concern. The girl does not belong here. She belongs with her family. Step aside. Armand shook his head slowly. She belongs where she feels safe. And right now, that is here. The air felt heavy. The second man tried to push the door open. Armand blocked it with his shoulder, refusing to move. The first man leaned closer and lowered his voice. Do you have any idea how much trouble you are creating for yourself? Armand met his eyes without fear. I have faced trouble before. I'm not afraid of it. The man's expression changed. He realized Armand was not weak, not scared, not easy to break inside the room. Aisha held Rayan close. She could hear the voices, the tension. Her breathing was fast. Tears ran down her face silently. Rayan hugged her. Auntie, Baba will protect you, he whispered. His little voice was full of trust. Trust so pure it hurt. Aisha closed her eyes. She wanted to believe it outside the door. The second man pushed harder. Armand pushed back. Do not try to force your way in, Armand warned. The first man raised his hand, signaling him to stop. He looked at Armand carefully. Why? He asked. Why would you protect her? She is not your wife, not your sister, not your family. Armand took a slow breath. Because I know what it feels like to lose someone, he said quietly. And I will not let someone lose their child. The man was silent. For a moment, even he felt something. But duty is colder than emotion. We have orders, he said finally. She leaves with us. Armand stepped forward. No, the man stepped forward too. Yes. For a moment they stood face to face. A silent war, no sound. Only heavy breathing, then a voice broke the silence. Aisha stepped out. Her face was pale, her hands shaking, but she walked toward the door anyway. Please, she whispered. Don't fight. I don't want anyone hurt because of me. Armand turned quickly. Aisha, no. But she placed a shaking hand on his arm. It's okay, she said in a small voice. I'm tired of running. I cannot hide forever. The men stepped forward to take her, but Armand blocked them again. No, he said sharply. If she goes because she chooses, not because she is forced. The man hesitated. Aisha looked at Armand, her eyes full of tears. Thank you, she whispered. for giving me safety. Even for one day, Arman's heart tightened. He wanted to say something, but words didn't come. Rayan ran to Aisha, holding her tightly around her waist. "No! Don't go!" he cried. "You are family now." Aisha broke down crying. She knelt on the floor and hugged him tightly. The men waited, impatient, cold. The moment felt endless. Finally, Aisha stood up slowly. She wiped her tears, took a deep breath, and walked toward the door. Arman watched silently, his hands clenched, his chest burning as Aisha stepped. Outside, a new black car stopped in front of the house. The back door opened. High heels touched the ground. A woman stepped out, tall, elegant, rich, powerful. Aura, her face cold as ice, her eyes sharp, her voice calm, but dangerous. "Aisha, come home." Aisha froze. Arman understood instantly. This was her mother. Arman stood between them. The mother looked at Arman with cold eyes and said, "Who are you to stand in my way?" Silence. Arman stared back. His answer would change everything. The air felt colder than before. The street was silent. Aisha stood near the doorway, her eyes locked onto the woman in front of her, her mother. Her mother's presence felt heavy, like a storm about to break. She was dressed in an elegant black coat, her hair tied perfectly, her eyes sharp, cold, emotionless. Not the eyes of a mother, the eyes of someone used to control. Arman stepped slightly in front of Aisha, protective without thinking. Rayan held Aisha's hand, standing close to her as if he was the one protecting her. The mother raised one eyebrow, calm, proud, almost offended. "So," she said softly, "this is the place you thought was safer than home." Aisha didn't speak. Her throat felt tight. The mother looked at Arman. "And you," she said, her voice never rising, "you think you can hide someone from me?" Arman looked her straight in the eyes. "I wasn't hiding her. I was helping her," the mother smiled without warmth. "Helping?" she repeated. "By keeping her in this broken house with a stranger?" Arman did not flinch. She was cold, alone, scared. A house is not what makes safety. A heart does. Aisha's eyes filled with tears. Her mother didn't even look at her, just continued speaking to Arman. "You don't know anything about us. Her life, her responsibilities." Her voice was sharp now. "She is my daughter, mine." Aisha finally found her voice. "Your daughter?" she said, voice shaking. "You only care about your name, your status, not me, not this baby." Her mother's jaw tightened. "A child born without marriage will destroy everything I built, everything our family stands for." Aisha stepped forward. "Then let everything fall," she said weakly. "I will not destroy my baby for your pride." Her mother's eyes turned to steel. "You are foolish, you are emotional, and you do not understand how the world works." Arman stepped in again, firm. "No, you are the one who does not understand. Love is not a business. A child is not a scandal." Her mother stared at him, cold, unmoving. "You are a man with nothing," she said quietly. "No wealth, no power, no influence. How dare you talk of love as if it feeds hunger?" Arman did not break. "Love is the only thing that feeds hunger," he said. "And I know that because I raised my son alone, with almost nothing, but with a heart full." Rayan stepped closer to Arman, holding his leg gently. The mother looked at Rayan, then at Aisha's belly, then back at Arman. Her eyes were calculating now. "This child," she said slowly, "will ruin her life." Aisha's voice cracked. "This child is my life." The mother finally looked directly at her daughter. "You ran away from home, from protection, from responsibility. For what? A moment of weakness with a man who did not even stay with you." Aisha squeezed her stomach. Tears streamed down her face. "He didn't leave," she whispered. "He died." Silence fell. Even the wind paused. The mother blinked. Only once. Aisha continued, voice breaking. "He loved me. He loved this baby. We were going to raise it together. He had bought clothes, a small cradle, everything. And then one accident took him away." Arman closed his eyes. Rayan hugged Aisha's leg again. He didn't need to understand. He just felt her pain. Aisha looked up at her mother. "He was the only person who ever saw me. Not as a name, not as your daughter, but as a person who deserved love. Her mother's face didn't soften, but something in her eyes flickered. 1 second, then gone. She stepped forward. "You are coming with me, Aisha." Aisha stepped back. "No." Her mother's voice turned cold like winter stone. "You don't have a choice." Arman stepped between them. "She always has a choice." The mother stared at him, and for the first time her voice rose. "Who are you to stand in my way?" Arman didn't move. He spoke slowly, firmly, with a heart made of truth. "I am someone who knows what it is like to lose a person you love. And I will not let you break her, not while I stand." Rayan grabbed Arman's hand. Aisha grabbed Arman's other hand. They stood like a family. The mother stared, and then she laughed, a bitter, short laugh. "So this is the family you choose? Aisha, a poor man and a fatherless child?" Aisha shook her head slowly. "No." She looked at Arman and Rayan. "This is the love I choose." The mother froze, and then she took out her phone. "Bring the lawyers," she said into the phone. Arman's face tightened. Aisha's breath stopped. The mother continued, "If she chooses them, then I will take the child through the court." Aisha gasped. Arman's eyes widened. Rayan looked up, confused. The mother lowered the phone slowly and said, "I will take your baby." The next morning was calm. The city was waking up slowly. The sun was soft and warm. Ray was standing outside his small house with a cup of tea. He was thinking about everything that happened in the last few days. His life had changed so quickly. He was no longer just a simple mechanic. He now had a responsibility of 2 lives, Lily and her soon-to-be baby. He heard light footsteps behind him. It was Lily. She smiled gently. "Good morning." Ray nodded. "Good morning. You slept well?" "Yes," she answered. Her smile was soft, but there was something emotional in her eyes. They both sat outside quietly. No noise, just peace. Birds could be heard. After a few moments, Lily finally spoke. "Ray, I want to tell you something more. Something I did not share before." Ray looked at her calmly. He was ready to listen. Lily took a slow breath. "When my mother passed away, she left the company to me. But before that, she left a note, a message for me." Ray listened carefully. "She told me, power means nothing if you cannot show kindness. She wanted me to find at least one person in this world who would help without expecting anything. Someone who would prove that kindness still exists." Ray's eyes widened slowly. "So, this was all a test?" he asked quietly. Lily nodded. "Yes, a test. But I didn't expect that I would find a father figure, a real family." Ray looked away for a second, thinking. He felt something deep in his chest, something emotional. "I didn't help you because of a test," he said. "I helped because you needed help. That's it. I didn't want anything in return." Lily's eyes became watery. "I know. That's why you are the one my mother would have trusted." Ray didn't know what to say. He just nodded. A few weeks later, Lily moved into Ray's house permanently. They made a quiet, peaceful life together. Ray took care of her like a father. Lily helped house chores, learned simple life things, and slowly became more grounded and happy. And then the baby arrived. Ray held the newborn for the first time. His hands were shaking. Tears rolled down his face. He felt his heart warm, full, alive. Lily looked at Ray and whispered, "I want to name her Hope." Ray smiled. "Hope? Yes, that's perfect." Hope was not just a baby. She was a new beginning. Some months later, life was moving easily. Ray opened his small mechanic shop again, but this time he wasn't alone. Lily stood beside him with baby Hope in her arms. She said to every customer who came, "This shop is built on kindness. Please treat others the same." The shop became known not for cheap repairs, but for honesty and humanity. People respected Ray. They loved his story. They admired Lily. Hope brought smiles to everyone. They didn't live rich. They didn't live poor. They lived happy. One day, Lily looked at Ray while rocking baby Hope. "Ray," she said softly, "I want to make one decision." Ray listened. "I want to give the company to someone else. I don't want that life anymore. I want this life. Here, with you and Hope." "I learned something more important than money." Ray felt warmth in his heart. "And what is that?" he asked. Lily smiled. "That a family is not made by blood. A family is made by love, kindness, and trust. You gave me that. You gave Hope that." Ray looked down, trying to hide tears. But Lily noticed. She knew. She placed her hand on his. "You are not alone anymore. We are your family now." Ray finally let the tears fall, and Lily leaned her head on his shoulder. Final message. Moral for audience. Simple, emotional. Sometimes we think we need wealth to survive. Sometimes we think our life is broken forever. But life can change in one moment. One small act of kindness can create a whole new world. Ray was a man with nothing but a good heart. Lily was a girl with everything but love. When they met, both became complete. Kindness can turn strangers into family. Kindness can save a life. Kindness can change the world.